You're not creating your life. You're just selecting from what already exists. And your nervous system actually decides and determines what you're able to stay with long enough to actually experience. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to our The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard's book reading. Today, we will check chapter 10, Creation. It is a very important chapter. As usual, if you want the entire chapter reading, here's the card on the screen. You can click here. But today we'll just reinterpret his work into our modern language, into nervous system lens. All right, so let's begin. Creation is finished. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and all space, while experience in a time sequence actually coexists in an infinite and eternal now. In other words, all that you have ever been or ever will be, in fact, all that mankind ever was or ever will be, exists now in the present. And this is what is meant by creation, and that statement that creation is finished. It means that nothing is ever to be created, it is only to be manifested. And it is very important because this is what Neville is known for, right? Creation is finished. This is his golden phrase. This changes everything. It means that you're not building a new reality, you guys. It already exists. You're just becoming aware of a different reality. But through nervous system lens, I want to tell you something, that awareness is not only mental. Your system has to be able to hold that new state as safe and familiar. It has to feel natural to you. Otherwise, you will just visit it and come back to what's real normal to you. Okay? What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. You simply become aware of increasing portions of that which already exists. This is very metaphysical paragraph, I would say. But the question is not, how do I create this, right? This is what he highlights. Can I remain aware of this new concept of myself? This is what he means. Because if you can't stay here in that unfamiliar yet unfamiliar state, it won't stabilize into your experience, that simply. Most people can touch the state, but very few can remain in it when it is, I would say, challenged. Okay? The fact that you can never be anything that you are not already, or experience anything that not already existing, explains the experience of having an acute feeling of having heard before what is being said, or having met before the person being met for the first time, or having seen before a place or thing being seen for the first time. All right, so the whole of creation exists in you, and it is your destiny to become increasingly aware of its infinite wonders and to experience ever grander and grander portions of it. What he tells us, that every version of us literally exists in the now. The one who is calm in uncertainty, the one who always feels appreciated, recognized, rewarded, the one who doesn't overthink, the one who feels kind of related and chosen without any proof. But your nervous system, you guys, it is only familiar with certain states, okay? Certain states you have consciously experienced or unconsciously. So it keeps pulling you back to checking, to doubting, to reacting, not because it is true, but because it is natural. It feels known, it feels familiar to you. So your work here is to literally forget who you thought you are and embrace what you really want about yourself, what you want from life overall. If creation is finished and all events are taking place now, the question that springs naturally to the mind is, what determines your time track? That is, What determines the events which you encounter? And the answer is your concept of yourself. This is the entire mechanism in here, because your concept of yourself directs your attention. It will always filter what you notice, what you consent to as true, and it will organize your reactions simply, which will create your path to whatever life. So if your concept is, I am not resonated with, I am not chosen, right? You will notice always delays. You will interpret silence as rejection. You will feel pulled to check, to confirm, to control. So, same reality, but different tracking here. Okay? Just notice. I want you to really notice what you are, what keeps pulling you back. This is the work in here. Okay? Concept determine the route that attention follows. Here is a good test to prove this fact. Assume the feeling of your visual field and observe the route that your attention follows. You'll observe that as long as you remain faithful to your assumptions, so long will your attention be confronted with images clearly related to that assumption. And he just literally says that your attention follows familiarity, emotional charge, internal sort of safety, right? What feels natural. So even if you imagine something new, if your system doesn't feel stable in what you are imagining, your intention will leave. It will not stabilize. So if you imagine something, like pick any event and imagine it is already being done. It is done. But if you feel suddenly the urge to check, remember past failures, or align the situation with past experiences, or your body simply tightens, that's not really failure. That's your system that is returning home. But this is not the home you want to occupy, right? You want to occupy a better home, a castle, I don't know, the empire, call it whatever you want. So try to disengage from what you do not want. That's simply just notice what residual is still within your system and where it is in your body. Your body will always lead you to the right answers. It will always show you where those patterns actually still live. So if you feel tightening, if you feel something in your throat, on your heart, on your solar plexus, on your sacral, anywhere in your body, this is where you have to work. This is where you have to acknowledge, bring clarity to, bring compassion, bring empathy, bring love, self-love and self-care. And just be brave enough to see your past life's experiences with clarity, with honesty, and just allow yourself understand that those past experiences brought you to the now, and you're no longer resonating with those past experiences because you have learned your lessons, right? This is very important. Okay, let's check this. For example, if you assume that you have a wonderful business, you will notice how in your imagination your attention is focused on incident after incident related to that assumption. Friends congratulate you, tell you how lucky you are. Others are envious or critical. It depending on your assumptions of others, right? From there, your attention goes to larger offices, bigger bank balances, and many other similarly related events. Persistence in this assumption will result in actually experiencing, in fact, that which you assumed. The same is true regarding any concept. He highlights here how it is important not to leave the state. It's really important because this is something you can directly observe. Because when you enter a state, your thoughts will align. Your imagination will organize around that state. Your perceptions will automatically shift. If you, for example, let's think of any desire and then feel it's already done. I already have it. And if you feel or rather, if you welcome in your mind's eye the image of people congratulating you, and you see these scenarios where it's natural and it feels obvious to you, unavoidable, right? This is a very good sign, but only if you remain there. This is what Neville means: persistence and devotion to that state, and then you exude that concept of yourself. So this is why people sometimes say that I can feel it, but I lose it after that. I mean, I just touched it, but it's not there yet. It's not like it's lost. It just means that their system returned to what feels more like them, what feels familiar, what feels believable, what feels regulated. Okay. So let's observe ourselves, you guys. This is very important. If your concept of yourself is that you are a failure, you would encounter in imagination a whole series of incidents in conformance to that concept does. It is clearly seen how you, by your concept of yourself, determine your present, that is, the particular portion of creation which you now experience, and your future, that is, the particular portion of creation which you will experience. So this is not something like a punishment. Do not look at this as punishment. It just reflects consistency or the lack of it. Your system literally organizes reality to match what feels like you, what feels natural to you. So if everything feels like you, natural state, you will keep experiencing constant trying, constant fixing, constant chasing. Even if you understand the law, one thing is understand, but one thing is literally do. Be doers, not just hearers, right? Doers. This is very important, you guys. So I do not want you guys to think we are creating something. We are never creating something. We just need to become familiar with a different version of ourselves, with a different concept, we just have to expand our consciousness and awareness to be able to see other life, okay? Until our system no longer lives it. It has to be rooted, anchored in that. Because when you can remain in that state, that state becomes real to you. And it's a promise. This promise was communicated in the Bible. This promise was communicated by the greatest teachers that have walked on this earth. So we're very lucky to have access to this knowledge, and we're very lucky to be able to understand it, you guys, and especially practice it and witness its truth. So for tonight, what I want you to do, there's a little exercise. I want you to feel one desire as already done. Let's feel it, okay? It is already done. I do not want you to add details, to visualize or force anything, or manufacture any emotional states. I only want you to feel it as done. And notice, can you stay here? But be honest, can you stay here? Or does your attention leave? Because I do not want you to fix it. What pulls you out of this state, this is what your real work is. That residual pattern, thought, feeling in your body, this is what needs to be worked on. Not with your mind. Understanding is one thing, but doing and exuding is totally different thing, okay? So the moment you understand what pulls you out from that state, if there is something like that, this is what needs to be worked on. Otherwise, if you can remain in that state for days and then weeks, rest assured, it will come fruition in your life. If you want to put in the comments what actually pulls you out of the state, put it there and just mark in the universe, in the world. I claim it to be not mine, not more, for example, or whatever. Put whatever you want in the comments, but I want you to really be conscious of what pulls you out of the state. Okay, I do not want any story. I want only feeling, and you can name it. Okay, clarity first, and then integration follows. So I will see you next one. Okay.